one of the guys that get a lot of credit is Steve Blackman from Muscular Development. I mean, those guys have done an extraordinary job for years and years and years to promote health, to promote fitness, to promote strength, to promote bodybuilding, powerlifting, weightlifting, and all of those kind of things. So the contributions they made is gigantic, and I hail them for that.
Ron Harris here from MuscularDevelopment.com, wrapping up our coverage of the Arnold Sports Festival here in Columbus, Ohio. Coverage brought to you by High Tech Pharmaceuticals. Joined with Mr. Olympia himself, Brandon Curry. Wow, and what a suit. Very dapper, Brandon.
Sir, thank you.
Very nice. And of course, Giles Tiger Thomas. We just wrapped up one of the best Arnold Classic shows I've ever seen, and I've been to about 20 of these things since '95. Brandon, was this one of the better Arnold Classics you've ever seen?
Yes, because that three-man race, man. You had to really figure out what the judges really wanted tonight, and whenever you have your three guys so tight, it's really exciting. It's really exciting, and they all were different types of physiques. All different types of physiques. So when you got orange and apples, and you're looking at conditioning, looking at size, looking at fullness, what are the judges going to go? What are they trying to tell us with the call-outs?
Yeah. And we'll get to that because it seemed like there was definitely a change in the placings from afternoon to evening. But let's start. We're going to focus mostly on the top six, but I want to mention one man who looked phenomenal and could have been in that top six, Akim Williams. Very impressed with Akim. Did you think he belonged in the top six tonight?
100%. I think I would have had him definitely swapped over Cedric. I didn't have Cedric in the top six. I had him 7th place. I would have had Akim definitely in 6th place, maybe as high as 5th. I don't know. 6th place was fair.
What do you think about Akim?
I told Akim personally, he keeps improving. Him and Oscar, they keep figuring things out, and each show he comes in a little bit tighter, a little bit better, and you can see he has all the tools he needs to be a real threat. And that monstrous front lat spread, every time he hits that shot, it's just some of those shots you just go, as a bodybuilding fan. Striations through the chest, we were talking about that earlier. So he's one of those guys that get you exciting about bodybuilding when you see him improving, because he has so much to work with. So he definitely could have cracked that top six, in my opinion. I think he continually gets overlooked, but he's coming to a point to where, they're going to have to start paying attention to this guy.
What does he need to do to move up and be compared to guys at your level?
Well, it's just about the fine details. I talked to Oscar about it. It's just about bringing out some of the lines, more separation, especially when it comes to the back. We know from the back, he's got the glutes and everything striated through there, but when it comes to the upper back, he gets a little soft there, some thick skin in the back, and I don't know what he's going to have to do to really bring it in, but he's going to have to be a little bit more detailed from the back, because from the front, he can stand with anybody on that stage.
Absolutely. So moving into the top six. 6th place, Cedric McMillan. You just said you didn't quite agree with that. You would have had him a little bit lower.
He was very much improved tonight, though.
Yeah.
Much improved. When he first came out the judging, I thought it was a disaster. But he seems to improve the more he poses and the more the show goes on. He did exactly the same at the Olympia last year. Yeah. I thought he looked terrible when he first came out. And by the second day, by the judging, I was like, he's actually really pulling it together, filling out and looking, and things were popping more,
Now, the posing, the Arnold Classic is the only pro show where the posing is actually scored. Do you think that helped push him up a couple slots?
Not really, because he uses the same music every year. So
he'd have a blindfold on this time.
I like the bit where he kissed the Arnold statue. Yeah. I mean, he's got a great stage presence, and I love his presentation. But it is, at the end of the day, it is a great routine, but it is the same routine every year.
Now, you've seen Cedric many times. In your opinion, what was the best Cedric, and how did this Cedric compare to the best you've ever seen him?
It definitely wasn't the best Cedric. I think one of the better Cedric was the year before he won the Arnold. So the year he won the Arnold, I don't think he was as good as the year before when he was facing Kai.
Right.
That's when I see he's one of the best Cedric for me. But Cedric is Cedric. He's gonna do things his own way, and he's unapologetic about it. And you're either gonna love him for him, or you're not gonna love him. So that's just the game he plays, and it takes a lot to play that game. You're going to get a lot of knocks in this sport when you play that game, but that's what he wants to play.
Yeah. So that brings us,
Concerning Cedric, actually Cedric put a post up on Instagram the other week, and I was quite surprised because he said his favourite Arnold Classic look he's ever had was in 2015 when he took 4th place. He said that was his favourite Arnold look, even over when he came 2nd to Kai in 2016, when he won it in 2017. He was 3rd in 2018, he was 4th in 2019. All very good looks, but his favourite look was when he actually got his lowest placing out of those, apart from last year, 4th place in 2015.
Wow. The funniest part of tonight was when the guys came off stage for the pose down, and Cedric Not only did he sit out the first half of the pose down, he took your seat. He said,
He definitely, I'm up there standing up to see the guys, and Sergio walks by. I'm thinking nothing of it. He separates himself from the pack, and then he just says, "I'm tired," and sits down. I'm like, okay.
Who does that?
Don't get your paint all over my seat. I don't want it all over my butt when I sit down. So
He grabbed me, and I don't know if I have any protan all over.
good. You look good.
Okay, so 5th place, Sergio Oliva Jr. You know, I was really hoping Sergio would get a top 5 spot. I've been rooting for this kid. I know he's been working hard, and he sat out an entire season to make the improvements. Were you pleased with the improvements that you saw from Sergio since 2018?
Oh, massively. When he first came out and he stood next to Ramy, I was thinking he's not looking small next to Ramy at all.
Yeah.
I mean, these are the improvements we wanted to see for the last year or two. I know he's had a bit of a dodgy couple of years, really, but it was nice to see his fate because he's a tall guy. I don't think some people realize how tall he is.
He's about 6 foot.
Yeah, he's very wide, and it was nice to see that the chest and back, the areas are filling out. He's not so shallow anymore. But I was really, really happy. I thought his conditioning was good. I thought he made improvements. I thought his posing routine was absolutely amazing, and I was really. Me and Steve were really, especially after he won the best pose. I was thinking, I really hope he makes top 6. So to him to get 5th place, over the moon for him.
Yeah, you must have been. You've been watching this kid since he was literally a kid.
Yes.
Literally, Chad Nichols. But what'd you think about Sergio and the improvements that he's made? And is he taking to the next level? Is he going to be pushing the Olympia soon?
Yeah, he's definitely stepped up to another tier, so to speak. So it's one of them things that I knew that his mindset was different. I knew that he's like in a good place. He's in San Diego now. He's away from some of the drama he was in LA. Yeah. He's got his relationship life sorted out. And then he teamed up with Chris Cormier, and I knew that would ground him and get in that mindset he needed. And he took the time that he needed to do it. And a lot of people, when guys take time away from the stage, some people think it's going to be unproductive. But he actually put in the work, and you can see it tonight on stage.
Yeah. 4th place, very happy to see Steve the King Snake Kuklo make top 4. I believe that's the best he's done. He was 6th here, he was 5th, and now he's moving up the ladder. Just like he was he 6th at the Olympia back in September?
He was 6th at Olympia. I think he was slightly better conditioned at Olympia, maybe like a couple of percent. But like we said, I saw earlier today, he was definitely a little bit bigger, a little bit fuller again. So he's making constant improvements. He really started nailing his condition at this show in 2018, and since then he's been very, very consistent with his posing. Oh, sorry, with his improvements. Yeah. So I had him a solid 4th place all day long.
Yeah. Now I believe you guys turned pro around the same time, maybe a year or two apart.
A little bit. He's a little bit younger than me, but he's being steady right now. And what the judges I think they like from him is the consistency he's showing. He's a big man. He's got a lot of muscle, and he's able to come in good enough condition to contend with the guys that he can either overpower with mass or he can bring enough condition to make them overlook them. So I think he's putting himself in a good spot. Of course, we know he's a great guy. He represents the sport well, but he's putting himself in a good spot by coming in consistently to these big shows. And, it's just slow climb, and that's what you need. That's what you want. That's what keeps us motivated as bodybuilders.
Yeah. I mean, would you think at this stage in his career he would still be improving?
Normally, it's not for most guys, but, Steve is got his mind right. His life is obviously right where he can do it. And, with him and Amanda behind him, I think they just got a good combination. They're business-minded, they're work-minded, and the whole work is paying off.
Owners of a new Carbon Culture gym coming soon to you, as is Brandon.
Dallas, Texas.
When is the second Carbon Culture in Nashville opening?
It's opening, hopefully be open in May. We have the grand opening on June 13th.
Thought I'd get that in there because Brandon's nice enough to do this with us. Okay, so that takes us into the top 3, which was very interesting today. Going into the show, especially when people heard that Chad was working with Ramy and that Ramy was going to come in at 300 pounds, people thought it was lights out. That's it. But, this isn't the county fair where the biggest prize pig wins or something like that. It's not about the height, weight, measurements, or anything like that. Ramy's physique, it's monstrous. He's one of the biggest men who's ever competed in this sport. But, to me, and this is no knock against him, I'm a fan of shape, symmetry, proportion, and he just doesn't have that pretty flow. And the top 2 guys we're going to talk about certainly did. 3rd place, was that fair for him today?
Well, I thought tonight, based upon, because when he came out, you could see his abs were popping. He was definitely drier. He looked better, and I was thinking, because I had him a solid 2nd place all day long, and then I thought tonight, with the improvements he made, I thought, is this enough for him to pip? Because I know, there's a lot of excitement around Ramy. He's been out since 2018 when he took 6th place at the Olympia. He took 2nd at the Olympia in 2017. I think there was a lot of, but for me, I just want to see more detail. He's huge, but for me, he always looks like he's 2 weeks out.
Yeah, we've been waiting to see this guy since 2018 Olympia was the last time. Maybe he did one of the post-Olympia shows, I don't know. But it's been a long time, and I think we were all curious as what this guy's going to look like, especially since he left Kuwait and went to a different coaching situation and all that. Is this what you expected, or did you expect something different?
This is pretty much what I expected. Once I found out, it leaked out. He's had a new coach. He's in a new position. He's working with Chad. I know Chad's style. I know he's not going to bring him down like a Chris Aceto would. So I was expecting him to come in big. Try to work on that conditioning. But I expect him to be coming big. And I think when they focus on big, I think that's to a disadvantage for him because he's already the biggest guy on stage. It's not more size he needs. He needs more refinement. He needs more detail. I think Chad's still trying to figure him out. We understand this is their first outing. They got a lot of work to do. They got a lot of chemistry that they got to get together. But I think for them as a first time out, I don't think it's a bad showing for Big Ramy coming back, being with a new coach. But I know that he has the potential to be better. And I know they're working on it. I talked to him about it. They're going to get better. They develop better chemistry. So I think as long as Ramy is about bringing out the detail, refining himself, and not about the size, I think he can improve and he can make an impact by the end of the year. But, that's wait to be seen.
Because, we've been waiting. I've been watching this guy. I was at his first pro show. I'm sure you've seen him many times. And I just don't see any advancement in that detail, the separation. I don't see a lot more muscle maturity happening.
I will say this. His legs were more separated than I've seen them.
Okay.
I will say that's one of the advantages. And then when he came out with his abs tonight, they were popping and the separation was better than I've seen it. It's a sign in the right direction. They didn't get it right at prejudging, but at finals he's showing some shades of where he's the direction that we want him to go. Yeah. It's just he's going to need more time to get there. Whether he's going to do it this year or not, we don't know.
Yeah, if I'm very critical of him, it's because I want to see this guy. I want to see his final form because the potential. If this guy had the detail that Phil Heath had, you'd all be done. I'm sorry to say.
Hey, it's true.
Yeah.
Does this mean he has to go and do the Arnold Australia to go and qualify for the Olympia? Or, is there the Indy Pro, isn't there as well? There's the Arnold, the South.
He could win any show, any pro show, and qualify for the Olympia.
So really, he has to do one or two more shows really now to qualify. So it's either one of the, was it the Arnold Australia? What's the other one? Arnold South America?
Arnold Brazil this year.
Arnold Brazil. So he really has to do either one of those.
He's not going to have enough points if this is all he does. He's not going to have enough points.
Yes, sorry.
He's going to have to do some more shows if he wants to go to the Olympia. There's no doubt.
And I think that's good for him, though. That's good for them to kind of figure out where they're going to go, direction they're going to go, figure out the right formula for Ramy. So he needs to compete more before he steps on the Olympia stage.
True. All right, now what a top two we had. This was Dexter Jackson's final Arnold Classic. This is his final year competing. Very sentimental for all of us who've been watching this guy since day one. I was there at his first pro show, and it's crazy to think that he's been at it this long and at the top of his game this long. This was almost the best I've seen him, I think. And especially in recent years. Were you surprised that he's able to pull it together at age 50 and improve over? Because a couple of years ago, I was like,
You know what? I've seen some pictures of him. I was working with Brad Rowe in the gym the other day with the Nubia device, and he showed me some pictures of, 16 sessions after Dexter worked with him and when he's on stage. And you can clearly see the difference in his legs and the separation. And tonight, you can see that part that we thought, okay, Dexter's done.
Yeah.
Dexter's finished. The legs were there. He's worked on the midsection. He's not having any distension that he was having. So Dexter continues to find a way to troubleshoot and improve. And I know that by talking to him. He's like, as long as he can improve, he knows he can be competitive. And seeing him tonight, especially when he came out at finals, seeing that fullness he came back, and as soon as he stepped on stage, I'm like, gosh, how does he do that?
How close did you see it between him and Bonac?
It was really close. I think Bonac edged him out in prejudging because I think he came out too crisp. Dexter came out too crisp, and he faded, and he got a little flat. And William did the opposite. William was a little fuller coming out. You're like, and then he kept tightening up. So he got the advantage at prejudging. But Dexter came out at finals, though. I was kind of trying to change my mind, but I know the judges got the first look from prejudging. So it was. I'm sure it was really close on the scorecard.
I can't wait to see that scorecard.
Sure, it was close. And that's a battle. That's a respectable battle, man. And for Dexter to be in his retirement year, and man, it just shows what an incredible athlete he is. My hat goes off to him.
Yeah, and if Bonac doesn't go to Australia and Dexter does, he's going to have win number 30.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
How close did you see it between these two?
I had him third. I did have him third, yeah.
Behind Ramy.
I thought Ramy was going to do enough tonight to improve to get the second place, maybe even first place. But, when you think about it, his first pro show was in 1999 here at the Arnold Classic, right. 21 years ago. What's a good pro career? 10 years?
If you're lucky.
10 years, 20 years. And this guy is probably probably one of the best looks. I mean, he's won the Arnold, what, 4 or 5 times?
Five
Times, and this is probably one of his best ever looks. Do you know what? I don't think he's going to retire. I don't think he will.
I asked him about that. I said, how are you going to retire, man, and you keep looking like this? I asked him backstage, and he just said, it's what he feels. He feels at this time, and that's what he feels. But I think he's got more life in him, obviously.
But I mean, if you're in that position when you're 50 years old, which could happen, especially these days, where everyone's taking care of themselves better and careers are taking a lot longer. If you were in his position at age 50, where you were still a top guy, but you've had a very long, excellent career, and he's got the greatest career on paper of anybody,
right,
what would you do?
I would be graceful enough to when I'm still in my full form to try to get out of there. Yeah. We've seen other guys try to keep it too long, and just seeing them fade is not a beautiful thing for us bodybuilding fans. So yeah, I think if he goes out looking like the way he is, that's great for his legacy.
Yeah, I mean, I want to remember these guys at their best, not with torn muscles and they can't get their condition right and one leg smaller or something. Dexter didn't do that. He went out on his top.
It's funny, I was here in 2012, and that was the year that Dexter dropped to 5th. And that was the year we're like, he's starting to fade now. That was 8 years ago.
Yeah. 8 years ago. We thought he was done.
Think about it.
Hey, he's done.
And he's better now than when he won the Arnold in 2013. Yeah. He was better today than when he won the Arnold in 2013.
You heard it.
7 years ago.
So that takes us to our 2-time champion now. Would have been 3-time if you hadn't beat him last year. Darn you. But William Bonac looked phenomenal. The Olympia condition was great. Legs were a little downsized. I believe he was about 10 or 12 pounds lighter than normal at the Olympia. It seems like he has most of that size back. How would you compare his look here to when he won the Arnold and when he took second to you last year?
I think he wasn't as crisp. I think as tonight as he was at those shows. I think he was a little bit more conditioned, but I think his fullness that he brought, the pop that he brought, I think he's a little bit fuller tonight. I mean, to look at him and the way he recovered from the Olympia, I know he had a hard prep. I think he can be a victim of, without the guidance, without his coach, of pushing himself too hard. He's not one of them guys that you got to push. I think he overworked himself in the Olympia, trying to prove a point, and I think he almost got to that point coming into the Arnold Classic, this show. But I think he was able to put it together, get enough fullness to because I did see a couple pictures.
Sure.
And I was kind of concerned.
Yeah.
But I think he brought some more fullness to what he needed to bring to get the pop, get the legs to really pop, and to really bring out that signature look that we like to see from him. Because when he's flat, when he's pulled too far down, he just didn't have that look that we like to see. So I thought he did just enough to win tonight. I don't think he was necessarily better than when he won or when he faced me, but I think being on his own, figuring this all out with these past 2 shows he's done it now, I think he's doing an excellent job, man. My hat goes off to him. I got to ask you this because the Olympia is, even though it's 6 months away, do you see it possibly shaking out exactly the same way where he's going to be the one pushing you the hardest? I know, man. I know. I know he's going to push me, man. I mean, we're good friends, but we're competitive. Sure. And, he's one of those guys I know is always working. I know is always, trying to figure it out. And, he hadn't had any sponsors. He had Gorilla Wear was his only sponsor. He lost his major sponsor. So winning this show was big for him tonight, big for his family. So I wish him the best. And I know he's going to be hungry for the Olympia, because he needs this. Yeah.
What do you think of William tonight? We had said earlier, you had commented that he's recovered a good portion of what he didn't have at the Olympia, but he's not quite where he was yet.
Yeah, he's put probably most of the size back on. I think his legs are about, I would say, 40% better than they were at the Olympia, but there's still a little bit of an imbalance that he didn't have before. For me, though, he peaked at the judging, and Ramy kind of peaked tonight, so that's why I was a little bit, this could easily swap the other way, because like last year, I had William beating you at the judging, and then you just came out at the night, and you just completely, where has he faded? You kind of pulled ahead. Yeah. So he's one of these guys, always comes strong out the gate. He always looks best in the big shows, the first shows he does. Yeah. And then for me, he tends to get worse as the shows go on. So is he going to go to Arnold Australia?
Yeah, I believe
well, then
is he signed up for it? Actually, we haven't seen a roster. We don't know.
Of course, yeah, because they haven't released the list.
There's a lot of guys don't make up their mind about Australia until right after this.
This is not. I mean, the best version of I've ever seen of William was the 2017 Olympia when he took third, and also when he won the Arnold in 2018. I feel like he's. But this is probably the best version I've seen of him for probably 2 years now.
Okay, fair enough. Want to also congratulate, we didn't go through the divisions, but Isa Piccini, reigning Olympia champion, also won the bikini here, Bikini International. Beautiful girl, my goodness. Men's physique, Andre Ferguson became a 3-time champ. 3 years in a row, I believe he's going here. Any final words on this year's Arnold Classic, Brandon?
I just want to thank all the fans, the real fans that came out, and you guys that are watching and tuning in. This ship almost wrecked. Almost so close because of this situation we have no control over. But I like to say, man, this audience was packed. I know who bought the last 2 tickets to this tonight, so it was definitely sold out.
Wow.
Okay. So yeah, so looking out, it was packed. So the true bodybuilding fans came out to support the event, regardless, and that's what we need. That's what we need.
Yeah, and I mean, this was a crazy Arnold. As recently as 3-4 days ago, we didn't know if anything was going to happen. They were just going to say, stay home, everybody. Don't bother coming to Columbus. But it turned out to be a great show.
This was my 7th Arnold Classic. The first one was in 2011. And like you said, there was so much uncertainty, like Brandon said, there was so much uncertainty. I think it kind of added to the... But I agreed with Steve tonight when he said, Giles, he said, this is probably one of the best bodybuilding shows I've ever been to. In terms of entertainment factor and sort of... it was nail-biting. It was a real... The atmosphere was fantastic tonight. I think the atmosphere was a little bit more intense because of what's been going on. Yeah. So I think we were extra appreciative. There was a bit of a special atmosphere tonight. Because of the troubles and the trials and tribulations of the last few days.
Cool. Well, that's going to wrap it up for us. I want to thank Mr. Olympia Brandon Curry very much. And again, check out Carbon Culture USA Gym in Franklin, Tennessee. Murfreesboro coming soon. Second location.
And Dallas, Texas.
Excellent equipment, excellent vibe in these places. If you ever get a chance, if you're anywhere in the area, check them out. And of course, this man's 6 months away from defending his Mr. Olympia title. It's never too soon to start hyping up the Olympia. No. Giles Thomas, thanks for coming all the way from the UK for us, as always. And that's it. Thanks to High Tech Pharmaceuticals for sponsoring our coverage. Thank you guys for following along all weekend. We appreciate it. And we will see you next time.